As you may or may not know, my wife and I just got back from Vegas. It was a great trip. We ate, we drank, we had a blast. But then we got home and looked at the credit card, and I gotta say, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having, $25 for a drink is a ripoff. Frickin' Vegas. I hate getting ripped off, and so do the lads over at Harry's. They spent years watching the razor blade companies rip people off and said, no more. Not all heroes wear capes, my friends, and they want to prove that they're legit by offering you hot dogs a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. I've been telling you about them for months, and I'm genuinely proud to have Harry's as a sponsor of this show. I wasn't kidding. The plastic, futuristic-looking crap razors you get at the store are overpriced and they're poor quality. Harry's blades are crisp, clean, and classy. They're the kind of razor you'd expect your grandpa to have on his bathroom counter. And most importantly, they work. Shave after shave, they're so smooth, they're precise. I used to go through the crappy store blades all the time, but Harry's are built to last. And they're not just better quality than the other names, they're more affordable. And they deliver. Just set your schedule, and for as little as $2, new blades, shaving creams, lotions, everything you need, right to your door when you need it. I genuinely cannot think of a reason not to try Harry's. And I'm not just saying this because they're sponsors. They're the best shaving supplies I've ever used. Try them out, and if you're not happy, your shave's on them. And unlike the other subscriptions, they're really easy to cancel if you want to too, which is a nice bonus, but believe me, you're not going to want to cancel. Getting ripped off isn't funny. Switch to Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. That's harrys.com/RTG for a $3 trial set. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you guys so much for listening. This week it is episode 75, 3/4 of the way to that magical number 100, and we are talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. I fucking love this game. I love Ninja Turtles. We have so much to get to this week, so I'm just going to shut the fuck up and get right to the intro because there's lots I want to talk about, and you guys know I have to ramble, and I ramble too damn much. If you're not interested in that, you can check out the description box below. There's a timestamp to tell you when to get to just listen to Ninja Turtles talk, but I suggest you hang around because we're going to wish the Sony PlayStation a happy birthday in a second, and I think you should do that. But before we get to wishing them, wishing that little gray box a happy birthday, you guys, I'm going to quickly plug the Patreon. Please consider signing up. Patreon.com/rememberthegame. And listen, if you're ready to skip, don't skip yet. Just listen. Just sign up like Ryan White just did. Thank you very much, Ryan, for signing up. It is $2 a month. Like, what else? What are you going to fucking spend it on? Like a cup of shitty fucking Starbucks coffee? No, just it's $2. That's all I'm asking for. If we get like 200 people each putting in $2, you guys know I give away 25% of our Patreon. That's $100 gift. That's a new game every month for one of those people, okay? So please just consider it. You're also going to get bonus episodes. We have 10 locked, loaded in the bank, ready to go. 5 Q&A rambling ones where I answer all of your questions, and 5 game reviews. We've already covered Cuphead, the Link's Awakening remake, Octopath Traveler, The Messenger, and Celeste, which just came live. And coming up this Monday, December 9th, it will be a Pokemon Sword and Shield review. I posted a poll over on the Patreon website to see if you guys were interested in that or not, and it was overwhelmingly yes. So to the 3 people that voted no, I don't know who you are because I can't see what you voted for. I'm very, very sorry. It won't be Pokemon again next month, but I have had an overwhelming amount of people messaging me asking me to cover the Pokemon games, so that is what we are going to do. You also get entered into draws to win our prizes, and you get a shout out on the show, just like Ryan just did, and I talk to everyone, okay? So you can message me on there, we can chat. I like talking video games. Sometimes it takes me a couple of days to get back, but I always go out of my way to chat with everybody, and there may or may not be a wrestling podcast coming 30 days from today, December 4th. that you're going to get access to a bonus episode of as well if you're already on the Patreon. That's my sales pitch. Okay, I'm done. No more plugging it for the week. Patreon.com/rememberthegame. Please consider it. It keeps the lights on here. It just helps me pay for this stupid podcast that we all enjoy so much. So thank you guys so much for supporting it. Let's get to the birthday. I said a couple weeks ago, I can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, that it was Donkey Kong Country's birthday. And I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a shout out. And then it turned out it was Smash Brothers' birthday. So I gave them a shout out. And I was like, I'm not doing every fucking video game ever's birthday. But this is a big one. As of the day I'm recording this, which is December 3rd, it is the PlayStation 1's 25th birthday. And the PlayStation 1 is a fucking big one, man. December 3rd, 1994. Sony released their first system. And just quickly, if you don't know, originally the PlayStation was developed to be kind of like an add-on to the Super Nintendo. It was going to be like the Sega CD to the Super Nintendo. And then shortly before it was time to drop it, Nintendo pulled the plug and ended up going with a different direction. And Sony already had this fucking thing developed, basically ready to go. So they were like, all right, fine, we'll put it out. I'm sure it's got to be the biggest mistake Nintendo's ever made because they created their own biggest competition. But credit given to Sony. Like, think about all the different companies and systems that have failed trying to release home video game consoles, right? Like, obviously, Atari, the Jaguar, all that kind of stuff. The Panasonic 3DO, right? My buddy Chris had one of those in Calgary. I thought that thing was fucking rad, but it died real quick. Google is about to fail with the fucking Stadia. They're not going to last. Sega, God love them, even Sega failed eventually, right? Like, so many companies. I mean, like, we could go on and on about all these different companies that have tried to make these home video consoles and failed. But not only did Sony not fail, they killed it and probably released the most successful line of home consoles in video game history. And when you think about Nintendo, like, my first thought when I think of home video game console, like in history, it's Nintendo, right? The NES, SNES, Nintendo 64, the GameCube, the Wii, the Wii U. Sony's dropped 4 of them. The PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, and the PlayStation 4 with the PlayStation 5 upcoming. And they are 4 of the 5 best-selling home consoles of all time. They're a dynasty. They're the New England Patriots of video game consoles. Of home console anyway. They just are. So I wanted to give them a little bit of credit. And I reached out and I posted on Instagram and Twitter and stuff asking people, like, what are your memories of the PS1? What were your favorite games? Because there's so many great games to that thing. Which, again, I'm going to get one more dig in on it. It's just how they fucked that PlayStation Classic up so bad, I have no idea. But I just wanted to read a few of the responses because there's just so many memories here. And some of these games we've covered on the podcast. If you're new to the show, go back to our archives. We've got several great PlayStation episodes in the archives waiting for you, locked and loaded. 7-Layer Dip on Instagram. Metal Gear. Oh, yeah. And there's going to be a few repeat customers in here. You guys are going to get to notice the games that are coming up over and over again pretty quick. 7-Layer Dip on Instagram. Metal Gear Solid and Twisted Metal 1 and 2 for sure. Kroot 1981 on Instagram. Metal Gear Solid and the Tony Hawk games. On Facebook, Andre said Siphon Filter 3, Final Fantasy 9, and Legend of Dragoon. I remember Legend of Dragoon. I had that fucking game. That game was weird. I had that game. Josh said the Twisted Metal series for sure. Scott said they got one for Christmas, him and his little brother, and it came with Crash Bandicoot, Gran Turismo, but the Tony Hawk games are the ones that stand out to him. Over on Twitter, Josh from Press Start to Join, good friend of the show, said the Looney Tunes Sheep Raider. If only because I traded it in and I regret it. I've never even heard of that fucking game, Josh. But yeah, that's fair. Jin and Chris said Xenogears is the best game on the system, bar none. So many memories. And you guys probably heard Tony Hawk, Twisted Metal Gear Solid, Tony Hawk, Twisted Metal, Metal Gear Solid, and Final Fantasy are the ones that jump out. Final Fantasy 9 came up, Final Fantasy 7. Not one person reached out to me and said Final Fantasy 7. Maybe it's a little overrated? Check out that episode. You'll hear what I think. I wanted to share my quick memories of the original PlayStation. That was the very first system I ever bought with my own money. I want to say it was 1997 or 98. It had been out for a couple years. I was bagging groceries at the IGA in Cold Lake, and I saved up my money and bought it. And the first week I had it, I couldn't afford a game or a memory card. I literally just had the PlayStation under my TV in my room, and I would basically use it to listen to CDs. And I got a jam-packed demo disc that had one level from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 that I fucking played so much. And it had a couple other games on it too. I can't remember what other games were on it. I think Medieval. I think it had an example of Medieval on there, but that was the one I wanted to play, was Tony Hawk. But then I started buying games, and like some of the games that stick out to me, like I played a ton of sports on there. I loved hockey and baseball games on the PS1. I'm a Tampa Bay Rays fan because of playing baseball on my PS1, and I just thought the logo was so cool because they like just come into the league when I got my first baseball game. But my most valuable memories, my fondest memories of the PS1, not calling it the PS Classic, that thing, fuck off, is probably Final Fantasy VII. I know I just said it's overrated, but I still put hundreds of hours into Final Fantasy VII. The Twisted Metal series for sure. Metal Gear Solid, which I'm replaying on that broken PlayStation Classic right now. Maybe there's an episode upcoming on that, hint, hint. The Tony Hawk games, of course, and WWF SmackDown are probably the ones that jump out to me the most. Tony Hawk's probably number one. Like, right? Like, it's like Tony Hawk, right? Tony Hawk 2 in particular. And I know it was on other systems, but the fucking PlayStation, come on, right? Tony Hawk. What a legacy, man. Like, it's, and honestly, like, when I think of my favorite systems of all time, I don't think of the PlayStation 1 at all. Like, I mean, I probably wouldn't put a PlayStation system in my favorite systems of all time. And if I was going to, it'd probably be the PS3. But, fuck, man, the PlayStation 1 killed it. Just so many great games. And, like, and I was a Nintendo kid. Like, I love my Nintendo 64, but like, I think I've got just as many, if not more, fond memories of playing the PlayStation than I do of my Nintendo 64. Outside of like Mario Party and GoldenEye and stuff. Just, fuck. Happy birthday, man. 25 years. Like, just imagine if Nintendo hadn't fucked that up and let them go and just worked with them. Like, what would gaming look like today if Nintendo and PlayStation were the same? Like, we're still working together to make consoles. Like, you could buy like the Nintendo PlayStation. Fuck, just imagine, like, there'd probably be like the PlayStation U, and it would just suck. But anyway, so happy birthday, PlayStation. That was the first thing I wanted to get to. Second thing I quickly wanted to touch on was that Black Friday and Cyber Monday have come and gone. Did you go shopping? Because I did. I bought an Xbox One, as you probably heard me talk about last week on the show, and I'm going to praise it again in a minute because I fucking love it. I'm so happy with that thing. But what I wanted to talk about just quickly was GameStop and EB Games. I saw a thing online talking about how, like, we all know they're in trouble, right? Like, I don't think that's a big secret in the gaming world that the GameStop, I mean, it's EB Games here in Canada, but GameStop, I'm just going to call them GameStop, so I don't have to keep saying both. Like, it's not a big secret in the gaming world that GameStop is in a lot of trouble. They're quickly going the way of Blockbuster with their stores and stuff like that. And from what I saw online from different reports and stuff, they really, really needed this weekend to be a big success to like stay above water. And apparently it just wasn't. And say what you will about the sales and stuff they offered. I actually didn't think that a lot of their sales, the Cyber Monday was pretty underwhelming, but the Black Friday sale I thought was fine. I didn't think it was much different than like what most other companies were offering. I mean, stuff like the Xbox and the PlayStation bundles and stuff were the same. I mean, some people have shit on the Nintendo Switch bundles because it was the old Nintendo Switch with the worst battery life. But I'm willing to bet you anything, if you do a little bit more homework into that, a lot of that was Nintendo pushing them to asking them to get rid of these old Switches. It's too bad. Like, they're fucked, right? Like, GameStop is fucked. Too many people, myself included, are buying digital now. And so when you're buying digital outside of like selling you the console itself and then maybe gift cards when they go on sale, there's nothing else they can do to keep your business. I mean, the Xbox I bought is the all digital Xbox. So I went into, and I bought it from EB Games, like the one near my house, which I'm going to get to in a second because I like them. But I went in, I gave them $180 for this game, for this Xbox, and now it's a digital one. I'll never buy anything else from them forward again, unless I need another controller someday or something, and I won't because I don't really have any friends. But they're fucked. Like, I mean, places like Walmart and Best Buy and those types of places that sell video games, I guarantee you their video game sales have plummeted as well, but they have other things, right? Like, they're not a specialty store. They sell other stuff. So the video games are just one little section of their business plan. EB Games, like that, it's EB Games. It's fucking, their video games are their thing that they do. And now, I mean, you can see that they're desperately trying to like just grasp at anything and find a new angle to take. Because when you go into an EB Games now, 2/3 of the store is just crap. It's those pop Funko figures with the weird eyes and the big heads, and tons of board games and T-shirts, and just like mugs and fucking socks. And it's just, you know, they're like, you can see that they're drowning and they're just reaching for anything, trying to get a hold of something to stay above water. And I just don't know what else you can do. I mean, not only are they competing with digital downloads and stuff like that, but like a lot of my friends I know that buy video games physically buy them online. You buy them from Amazon or something, and then they get shipped to your house in like a day, and you don't have to go to the store. So I just don't know what else. I don't know what else EB Games can do. And their online interface can't touch Amazon's. It's not even close, Plus, every time they fucking try to do something online, it seems to break, right? Like they released their Black Friday sales, and it turned out they didn't actually have the Black Friday sales on the website. So you could click the link to go to Black Friday, and then there was no Black Friday deals. Everything was just regular price. They're just... And it sucks, okay? Because like they're not all bad. I know we all shit on GameStop and we make fun of how they try to get you to buy 100 extra things when all you want is a game or a system or whatever. But like they're not all bad, and a ton of people are going to lose their jobs. There has to be somebody listening to this podcast right now that works for GameStop. And I'm telling you, like the one up near my house here in Skyview, the like Skyview department store complex thing, shopping center here in Edmonton, is the one like 10 minutes from my house, and they have always treated me great. There's never any pressure. Whenever I buy a game, they say, do you want to put the warranty on it? I say no, and they just say okay. Like I've never had a bad experience in there. I don't know, man. Like are they gonna be alive this time next year? I'm not sold that they will be. And so if you're listening to this and you work there, I'm sorry that things aren't going well. I hope that you don't lose your job. I'm not laughing at the fact that you're going to lose your job. It's just, I don't know. How the fuck do you fix it? I don't think they can. I don't know what's left to do to try to fix that. I think they're fucked. But like I said, I've really enjoyed them. This is going to be the segue into what I'm playing, which is going to be the segue into Ninja Turtles 2. I've always had great experiences there. I bought an Xbox there last week for Black Friday. I got the all digital one, as you guys probably heard if you listened to last week's episode. My first Xbox in a little while. I have loved it. Like loved it. I cannot express how happy I am with this purchase. I have Game Pass on it. It is full of fucking games. I've downloaded a ton. I can't wait. I got Halo waiting for me. I got Gears of War. I've got Slay the Spire. Shout out to Josh from Press Start to Join for mentioning that to me, but I added it on my list already. I've got Ori and the Blind Forest. I've got so many fucking Metal Gear Solid 5. Just so many games that I never played, just downloaded waiting on my Xbox to play, and they're all covered with Game Pass. So if you're on the fence on an Xbox One, you guys, I'm going to be a complete shill for them now. So what have I been playing the last 7 days? Primarily Pokemon, which I'll get to in a second. On my Xbox, I've been playing The Outer Worlds, which I started out, it's made by, I'm going to fuck up the name. I want to say it's Obsidian. It's the people that made Fallout New Vegas, I believe. When I started playing it, I fucking loved it. I thought it might be a last second shot at taking away Game of the Year from Fire Emblem Three Houses for me. Now I like it. After putting some hours into it, I don't love it anymore. I like it. It's Mass Effect meets Fallout, but I'm not sure that it does either game that well. I'm just starting to find it a little boring. I fell asleep playing it last night and then woke up and was trying to figure out what the fuck happened. Because like, when you're watching TV or reading something while you're falling asleep and then you can't figure what the fuck just happened over the last 5 or 10 minutes. That happened to me playing Outer Worlds last night. And that's not a good sign, but it's been okay. I also started playing through a certain vintage platformer on my Xbox. It's on Game Pass, but it's from the Nintendo 64 days, and it rhymes with Rambo Kablooey. And because I never played this particular game back in the day, and I know it's very, very highly requested for an episode of the show, and there's an episode of the show coming on it once I'm done it. Hint, hint. And then I finished Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I'm going to save my thoughts on that. That will be discussed on our Patreon episode Monday, December 9th, so get in on that if you guys are interested. That's good enough. I got out of there in 16 minutes. That's pretty good. Let's get to episode 75 of the show, you guys, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. It took us 75 episodes to get to Turtles 2, which is about 73 episodes longer than it should have. Although I guess episode 2, we talked Turtles in Time, which is the better game. But anyway, we're talking Ninja Turtles 2. I fucking love this game. I love the Ninja Turtles. I don't know how often I bring it up on here. I know I have a few times. I fucking love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm sitting next to the original movie poster, which is framed and in my office here, signed by Kevin Eastman. I met him at an expo a few years ago. He was rad. I have a Ninja Turtles tattoo sleeve. My left arm is literally covered in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles forever. I adore the Ninja Turtles. I also love Nintendo, which you guys know if you listen to the show ever because I talk about it every 7 days. So when you combine them, the Ninja Turtles and Nintendo, at least back in the 80s and 90s, not so much now, but like back in the day, was peanut butter and chocolate. Just fucking magical. Like, and who didn't grow up in the 80s and 90s and not play this game? Be it the arcade version at a Chuck E. Cheese or something, or be it the home version on the NES. We all played Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. And with that said, I'm going to cue some phenomenal music. And I'm going to sit down with my buddy Miklos and talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, which hit arcades in 1989 and then showed up on the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1990. This game is fucking rad. Let's talk some Ninja Turtles, you guys. Kick back, relax. Here we go. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everyone that listens to this podcast knows about our illustrious CEO, my dog Molly. But the other silent partner behind the scenes is my wife. And let me tell you, my friends, a 17-year relationship with another person that has to talk to and live with you is a lot harder to maintain than one with a dog. We've had our ups and downs, and as you all know, a relationship isn't all sunshine and rainbows. They can be a lot of work. You get out what you put in when it comes to relationships, and talking to a therapist can be a fantastic way to put in some work. They can help you work through your issues, learn to communicate better, and even just provide you with an ear to bend when you need it. I've talked to my therapist about my relationships, especially when it came to my stand-up comedy career and how much I was away from home, and they helped me work on ways to keep my relationship strong even when I was out on the road. It turned out our relationship was actually better when I was out on the road, but that's a story for another day. And I know, right? Therapy. Who has the time these days? BetterHelp hears you, and they're making it easy. Fill out a quick form online, and they'll match you up with a therapist that suits your needs and that'll work around your schedule. You pick the meet times, and you can get your therapy fix from anywhere, over video, phone, or just chat. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit BetterHelp.com/rememberthegame today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. So we're doing like a marathon session today. So I'm gonna ask you how you're doing, like 3 or 4 more. I already know how you're fucking doing, but
I'm doing horrible.
Yeah,
man. I'm doing so bad. This is the worst day I've ever had.
I was gonna say these people may not know how you're doing. My guest this week is Miklos. You may remember him primarily from mostly Sega episodes. He was a Sega kid, but we're shifting back to the NES today and arcades.
Yeah.
And we're talking. I'm so excited to fucking talk about this game, dude. Ninja Turtles 2. The arcade
this game was amazing.
This is like everybody knows this game.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody.
Like,
okay, so this was like during like Turtle like Mania, right?
This is like one of the heights.
Right.
Especially for Turtle games at the time.
Okay,
Like,
and I was thinking about that today because like sometimes I think about just some of the shit I want to talk about when we do these podcasts, and like I think everyone remembers the original Ninja Turtles game on the NES.
it was impossible.
It was impossible, but it was the first Turtle video game.
Yeah.
Everyone owned it. It's like in the top 10 like best-selling NES games ever.
Yeah.
Like it's a big game, right? And then this one came out, and like I don't know. I personally never owned this one as a kid. I just would always play it. We'd rent it. It was like, and you play this one, and I respect everything that the first Turtles game did. By the way, there's an episode about that in our archives. You guys should look that up later. I don't know which number it is, but it's back there. I respect everything the first game tried to do, because I'm like, dude, they could have just made it as like a crappy beat 'em up, but they tried to put some mechanics in where each of the turtles handled a little different, and there was swimming and exploration, and like I understand what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
It just
Didn't
wasn't
work.
great. Like I'd love to see a Turtles game today made in that style.
Oh, that would actually be pretty cool.
Right, when they know how to use those mechanics and stuff like that. Whereas Turtles 2, the arcade game, which originally was arcades, they were like, okay, if we were going to make the Ninja Turtles are worth $1 trillion right now. How can we make a video game about this for kids?
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems
You
so
get
basic.
You get them together and just beat things up.
You control one of you pick your
was-
favorite turtle and you just beat up bad guys.
Guys, yeah.
It's so easy.
And definitely designed as a quarter popper.
Oh, buddy. Oh, fuck. Okay.
We spent so many quarters on this game.
Just before we get into breaking this game into how awesome it is down, the fact that there's only realistically been 2 good Turtles games since this one, and that's Turtles 3 that no one talks about. It's actually a really good game.
Yeah.
And then Turtles in Time, which I think everyone
Which
agrees
is
is the
similar.
the definitive, like
Yeah.
it's the Turtles game. The fact that they have not made another good, like really good Turtles game since then drives me bananas, because it's like you just pick a turtle and you beat up it should be so easy. Like, where's an X-Men Legends style Turtles game where the 4 turtles level up and you can get different abilities and stuff?
Yeah.
Where is it?
I thought they did a game like that.
Well, they just released Mutants in Manhattan, I think it was a couple years ago, but the reviews are really bad.
There was like an indie game for the 360 that was actually like that.
Fucking,
But it was an indie game, right?
it just seems so
I had,
simple.
I had the demo. I know I had that demo on my 360.
Ah.
I played it a lot, and I thought about buying it, but I was against a lot of digital downloads.
Oh, all right.
And like, because with the 360 too, you had to, if you wanted to play any of the digital stuff, you had to be connected to live.
Right, yeah.
So
Chaps my ass. Just give us a good Turtles game. It's not hard. It's not hard. But maybe I'm asking too much with an X-Men Legends stuff. Like, I think that'd be so cool. Like, they all level up, and as they level up, they get more powers.
Yeah.
You could have the 4 of them, and if you wanted, you could throw in, like, Splinter and Casey.
and then you do like, double team moves.
Yes,
and stuff.
it's not hard. But anyway, we're daydreaming. Let's go back to, like, what year did this game come out? Fucking 1989, when they figured out how to make a Turtles game, and they released Turtles 2, the arcade game. So, like,
Yeah, this is definitely an arcade game before it got platformed.
It was, yeah. And like, I remember playing this game at, like, dude, so, because like you said, it 8 quarters. We used to go to Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday every year when I was little.
Yeah.
Me and my brother's birthdays, my little brother's 3 years younger than me, but our birthdays are a day apart. It's November 16th and November 17th. And so we would always go to Chuck E. Cheese for like a big group birthday. We just get to bring 4 or 5 friends. Chuck E. Cheese in the 90s was the fucking greatest place on earth. And they always had the Turtles arcade game.
Yeah.
And I would pump every token I had into that game. Never come close to beating it. Because it was so, like... I mean, it is a criticism, and it deserves criticism. We're not talking about the NES port yet. I mean, we are going to get into that. But, like, the actual stand-up arcade machine was so blatantly designed
to just,
have kids go to their parents and be like, I need more money, because you only get like 10 seconds to continue or whatever too. So you're like, I need more money, so you can keep going, and you're never gonna beat it.
No.
It's gonna cost you $50 to beat this fucking game at an arcade because it's so hard. It was designed to kill you, but it was something about it that was so fun.
You could do like, I remember playing it like as a kid. Even now, like if you go, because they have it at,
They have it at Beercade.
they have it Beercade and whatever I'm trying to remember the one downtown was, but I used to go there all the time because my friend gave me free tokens.
Oh yeah. There's tons of like this arcade game shows up in all kinds of these like adult arcades now and stuff like that.
So, but even playing it, like you go through like a level or two without having to continue.
Yeah.
And then like that's after playing it for so long.
Oh, yeah.
But even then you're like, oh, and then like the more you go, like you're barely beating a level before you're putting another quarter.
Yeah,
in,
it's
right?
fucking brutal. Yeah, because those first couple levels you get to play them over and over, so you get to know what to do, right? 'Cause, like the first level, you're in that burning apartment building, and then the second level, you're on the streets, which is still my favorite level in the game, I think.
I gotta say the sewers were one of my favorite.
Where you're surfing,
no,
just where you're walking. Yeah.
where you're fighting Baxter Stockman at the end with all the mouse.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. Okay, so one of the things, I mean, this game does everything right, but like, first thing it does right is it's just to beat them up, and it's multiplayer. Turtles have to be multiplayer.
Yeah, you can't just do one.
No, they have to be multiplayer. So I love the fact that it's that. I love the fact you could pick whichever one of the 4 turtles you want. And obviously, when you're talking the arcade machine, you've got the 4 individual like positions with the joystick and the buttons. But even when you're playing it on the NES, you get to pick which one of the 4 turtles you want to be, and they all handle like identical,
pretty much the same.
Yeah. But the
reach on some of them is different.
Sure, but they look cool. Like and I always adored the fact that they made the 4 of them. Like they all have their weapons. It's very distinct. They have the unique headbands. Like you can tell who is who. Yeah. And this is gonna sound like a minor thing, but Donatello is my favorite turtle.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that he doesn't just like hold his bow in one hand. Like they could have just taken, because they're obviously all sprite swaps, right? Yeah. But like Leo, Mikey, and Raph have 2 weapons, and each hand holds a weapon, and they swing them, and then that's it. Yeah. Whereas Donnie, they really did like he holds his bow differently. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just those little things that
and like him and Leo do they kind of do the same thing where Leo, like, you can watch him do 2 hands into things and throw them.
That's right, yeah.
And you watch Donatello use like a staff. And
he like impales them and like throws them backwards, right? Yeah. I love so that alone just makes it good. Like that's such a how the fuck is that not like that should be such a basic thing, you know? And then at this point, the cartoon was at full swing. Like it was huge.
Oh yeah.
And
I watched it every Saturday, like 5 or 6 episodes. Right. Because they would, in some places they like, I remember they'd be like, these 2 episodes at this time on this channel, and then there's an episode on this channel, and then later those 2 episodes that were being replayed, and I would watch them all.
Yeah, it was perfect. Like it was Turtle Mania, like to a T. So they were inventing new bad guys all the time for the cartoon show. Yeah. But what's cool about these games, and this was one of the reasons I wanted to play this game all the time as a kid, was because like we obviously didn't have the internet to look up who the next bad guy was, and you wanted to see like every time you got to the end of a level, like, oh, who am I gonna have to fight? You know what I mean? Like because like you start off, you fight Bebop and Rocksteady, which is the classics, the 2 of the greatest villains of all. I adore Bebop and Rocksteady. I fucking adore them. But then, like Baxter Stockman fucking shows up, and I don't remember in one of the versions it's Slash. Is Slash in this one?
I think Slash is in the 3rd.
Maybe it's the third one.
Third game. Yeah.
I don't know. But that's like again, that's part of the excitement. Is like the bosses include Rocksteady, Bebop, Baxter Stockman, General Trag, Krang, Shredder. Like that's. Like so that's you got Krang, you've got the Rock Soldier, you know what I mean? Like like we're not even into playing it yet. Like I just like it's the perfect turtle like fandom like tribute. It's fucking I fucking adore it. And then in the second level when you're on the streets, one of the things that stands out to me that I love about that fucking level is the first level you're in the burning apartment and it's fine, fucking whatever. But then when you get onto the streets and the foot soldiers are jumping out of the sewers and throwing sewer covers at you, and you can hit them back at them.
And they're driving cars into you.
And and you can hit the parking meters and they go flying at guys, and hit the fire hydrants, and then the little nozzles shoot out at guys, and you could fall into the sewer. Yeah. And then that cartoon, like Who Turned Out the Lights, will come up, and then and you know it hurts you, but you do it anyways because it was fucking cool. Like to me that's why I think I love the second level so much, because it like the game opens up at that point. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It gives like a really cool Double Dragon feel, but like more cartoony.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like
and then I love the fact that they constantly make different foot soldiers. Because you would think if all he had to do was fight foot soldiers for the whole game, it would get old, like the purple classic robotic foot soldiers, right? So then they throw in the Mousers, and they throw in, I can't remember what they were actually called, but they were like those fucking devices that would shoot the electrical whips. Like one kidnapped Splinter in like one of the early episodes and stuff, which I fucking hate fighting in this game, by the way. I hate those fucking things.
You fight a lot of them in the Technodrome.
Yeah, and they take forever. They take such a pounding, those fucking things. But then they also just took the foot soldiers and constantly color swapped them and then gave them different weapons. Yeah. Which is genius, because now it doesn't get old. And
then you like start to fear certain colors.
Oh, dude. Yeah, when you go into like a screen where there's 8 or 9 foot soldiers and there's like 2 or 3 of like the fucking
white ones or something like that.
Yeah. Like, ones with guns or boomerang, like something that's hard to dodge. Yeah. You're like, get them first. Like forget the purple guys. Yeah. Those guys are easy.
Those guys are pussies. We need you're definitely like ranking some of them.
Yeah.
And then like and they're not, the rankings aren't even like completely static too, right? Like so you have say like a couple of guys that are really good because they'll pin you down, so all like the regular foot soldiers can get at you. So you go after those guys that pin you down. But then you see them in like a group of other guys, and they're like the guys you don't even care about. Right?
Yeah, they're duds, right? Like they're easy. And I can't remember if the NES version had this. I know the arcade version, each guy had a special move if you hit attack and jump at the same time.
I thought that wasn't. Oh, yeah.
But it would take some of your health
away.
Yeah. So you wanted to like save them, right? Because
Yeah.
they were like they come in really handy, but they would take a ton of your health, which was again just a way to eat your fucking
that
quarters.
This one, though?
I just looked it up to be sure because I
Okay.
wasn't sure, and
Okay.
yes, it was.
Okay.
But again, classic way to take your fucking money. It's just like, oh hey, here's a move that'll kill bad guys for you, but
especially
it's
if there's a swarm of them, right?
but it'll also kill you. Like fuck right off. Like,
right? Well, it's just a way to like make sure you weren't like spamming the special move too, right?
oh, of course, because otherwise,
You would that's all you would do. Look at me, I'm fucking super powerful.
because like most of them, and I'm not 100% sure, but like I remember most of the foot soldiers taking like two or three hits to kill. Because you hit them, they'd bounce back, and then they'd come at you again.
Yeah.
Whereas the special attack would kill them in one hit.
Yeah.
And if you could kill, and you got like, I think you got like a point for every guy you killed. And if you got to 100 points or 200 points or something, then you got an extra life.
Yeah.
So then like, I know when I would play, especially the NES version with my friends, we would be trying to like, oh dude, you're at 190. Like I'll leave you alone. Like get your extra life. Do you know what I mean? Like, cause you need that extra life. And
So this is where me and my friends were cutthroat. We were like, "You're at 190, screw you," because we're always trying to do better than
of course,
each other,
yeah.
right?
Oh well, then you guys were the same kids. Where like one of you's almost dead, one of you just died, so you have a full health.
Oh no, we would be nice in that fashion
Okay.
because there was also a teammate aspect.
Of course, there was.
right? Because if your buddy died, that was it.
Oh yeah.
And you're by yourself.
And like in this game, like when you're playing it 2-player, like that second guy can be a huge help.
Yeah.
And when they never give you 2 pizzas. Like it's always one.
Yeah.
And so you have to decide which of us is gonna get the pizza,
Yeah.
and it has to go to whoever is more beat up. Like
Yeah.
it has to.
Yeah.
And if you like,
or you're like you get it because sometimes it'll be in a fight, so there will be a pizza there, but then like a bunch of foot soldiers come.
yeah.
So you're like, well, whoever gets to the lowest first, and because we're competitive, we're always trying to not get hit.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So then you clear out the area, and then whoever's got it, like we were
Right.
you
Oh,
guys
save it as
do
long as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you couldn't backtrack either.
Yeah.
So you had to get it before you walked straight through, but you had to backtrack to get it. It fucking. Oh, or when you accidentally walked into the pizza, like you didn't know it was there.
You're like, you already have full health. You're like, no, no.
You hear that sound effect, that like brrr sound effect, and you're like, no, I'm gonna really need that soon. Fuck. And then like, and I don't remember because I wasn't big into beat 'em ups. I didn't play a lot of Double Dragon or anything. Just the way that this game had a little bit of screen depth, like you could go up and down. I thought that was so cool. You know what I mean? And like, I don't think there's any parts like this no, I know there's not in the apartment, but like when you get to the streets, there's like a part where you can jump up on like a balcony, or you can like be down on the street, and then the game kind of goes like down and like diagonal. And I just thought that was so cool. Like it gave it a little bit of depth because you remember the girl comes by on the skateboard and you can make her scream.
Yeah, if you hit her.
I always thought that was like the coolest thing. And then after you did that, and then you went down diagonal, and then there was always the Pizza Hut signs. Do you remember that? Because I read about that, and Pizza Hut paid like a lot of money to get like the marketing rights to like be in this game. And apparently in the NES version, the instruction booklet came with a coupon.
Oh, really?
For like money off of your pizza, but it expired in like 1991 or something.
Oh, fair enough.
So,
I know that we didn't have a Pizza Hut in Fort McMurray, so it didn't do anything for marketing.
No,
for us.
same. I was like,
eventually when we got one, we were like, oh yeah, let's get Pizza Hut, and then you realize that it's not even that good.
Then you realize it sucks. Yeah.
Although Pizza Buffet was awesome. Skip school to do that.
Pizza Hut Buffet is still awesome, but because it's funny because in the movie it was Domino's.
Yeah.
And in the video game, it was Pizza Hut. And frankly, I don't think either one has very good pizza. Like, you guys are supposed to be pizza connoisseurs. How the fuck do you have to eat this shit? Like, you guys know
cheap.
better than it. It is cheap. I get, and like, and that's another thing that always bugged me about the Turtles is they were always ordering pizza, and I'm like, that's not a cheap thing to eat every night, and you guys don't have jobs, so where the fuck do you always have money for pizza?
Beating up bad guys. If I've learned anything from video games, is the more bad guys you beat up, the more money you have.
They just take their money. Yeah, maybe that's all it is. So okay, so like that was the arcade game. The arcade game is fucking rad.
Yeah.
But then they ported it to the NES.
Yeah.
And that's the version I know personally. That's the version I'm more familiar with. Yourself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was so like, dude, I rented this game. So like that cover art of the four of them breaking through the wall with the skateboards, like just that cover art. Anyone listening to this knows exactly what cover art we're fucking talking about. I would love to get a poster of that to put in here.
Sweet,
like it's so like it just stands out to me. Like I can't not picture it. Like it was the fucking peak of Turtles. You know what I mean? And man, I could have bought this game for the amount of times we rented this game as kids.
I do believe that I own this game.
Oh,
Like everyone I knew owned this game. This was a definite game. You went to your friend's house. Like it was like a staple. Of the video game days.
Yeah.
Of the NES.
Dude, like I remember going to like sleepovers at people's houses, and like there'd be 4 or 5 of us, and you'd just take turns, but you'd stay up all night.
Oh man,
dude, and like I'll be honest with you, Mick. Like I don't know when the last time you played this game is, like the NES version of it.
Okay,
like,
it's been a while.
I was playing with it on my NES Classic over there.
Yeah.
That got sick and got some extra games put on it somehow. We won't get into that.
Oh no, I've been infected with extra games.
Oh no. But I was, and like admittedly, it's not that it hasn't aged well because it still looks decent and it's still fun to play. I don't know how we would marathon session this game as kids for hours, because you play it now and after about an hour you're like, okay, like I've thought, you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of depth there.
No,
you know, there just isn't.
But I mean, like as a kid, especially being caught up in Turtle Mania, I mean, you didn't care.
No, you didn't.
You're not the same Turtle fan. I mean, you're a pretty big Turtle fan.
I am a pretty big Turtles fan, but yeah,
it's not the same. And especially to play something like, one of the downfalls of this game for me was how repetitive everything was.
Yeah,
I did a lot of drop kicks. Jump
right.
up.
That's what I was
kick,
just gonna say. Do
just
that
back and forth, drop kicking people, right? Like that,
and
was,
like that's the go-to move,
right? Because you get hit less.
Yeah,
right?
The way he would do it at like a 45-degree angle,
Yeah.
like you jump and then like that knife edge, like he'd be mid-flip and then you hit attack and he comes out of the flip and just like like quintuples your speed in 45. Like when you're fighting the bosses, like the very first boss you fight, if I'm not mistaken, is Rocksteady.
Yeah,
in the burning building. And he's got the gun, and then he would charge at you.
Yeah.
And that's all I would do is just like spam the jump kick, jump kick, jump kick. Try to stay away from him. Jump kick, jump kick.
And then like if he's running the bosses too. Oh my god, because you'd be like, you get in there, you try to beat them up, and you think if you were beating these guys up, they seem to get like this invulnerability.
Yeah.
And you like hit them and they're like, no. And they just swat you across the room.
Right. Yeah. But like on one hand, that irritated me because it felt so cheap.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do like the fact that like when you watch the old cartoons and they tried to do this with the movie, like with Toka and Razar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To me, the turtles are at their best when they're smaller than their opponents.
Yeah.
So they're almost like, even though they're ninjas, they're kind of underdogs. Like they own the foot soldiers, right? Like you should be able to destroy all the foot soldiers. But when you go up against like a Rocksteady, the dude is triple your size.
Yeah.
He's got a gun. He's a rhino, so he's like built like a fucking shit house. Like I kind of like it, but it is like at times
there were times when it was just like crazy cheap.
You're just like fuck off, like, and then he'd kill you in like 3 hits. Like
you're like.
And you could
it's sometimes just defied all of the gameplay.
And you can only be so strategic because otherwise you're going to be fighting this guy for 2 hours, you know. But one of the things the fucking memories is when you hit guys and after you're getting close to killing a boss, they start flashing red.
Yeah.
And it would start out with that really slow, like every once in a while they'd blink red, and then it would get more and more. And by the time you're almost done beating them, they were just like that red and white flashing.
Once it started flashing a lot too, you'd be like, all right, now is the time when you like stop drop kicking it, and you go in and you're just like spam attack.
And that's, you know what? That's always when I would die. Because I'd be down to like 2 or 3 hit points left, or like in my life bar, and I'd be like, fuck, I probably have to hit him a couple more times, and then it just and then they would
you come back and then hit him once,
and then you kill him. There would be nothing more infuriating than losing a life on a boss with like 1 hit left, because all you have to do is kill. If you can just get through him without dying, you get your health back.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh god. And the amount of times like I'll tell you, like if you were playing it with a good friend, not competitively, if one of you had if one of you died during a boss and the other one was close, then we would always play like, okay, the other one like back off. If I need you near the end, come in. But like I just died anyway. I've got a full health bar. Let me get in there and fucking go after him, right? And like fucking Rocksteady would be so goddamn cheap with his fucking gun where he'd shoot it, then shoot him in the air, and he'd throw his stupid kicks. Right as you go to do your jump kick into him, he'd fucking kick you. And then Bebop, when you fought him, the sewer was open. And you'd always fall into that fucking sewer.
He would like hit you, and then you would fall on the sewer. You're like, this is some This is some bullshit.
And he had that stupid ray gun that would like the beams would like expand. So then
so it almost forced you to be in close to get hit.
To kill you, right? Like I don't know for sure if they pulled the difficulty back on the NES version.
I think they did a little.
But
bit.
I have to think they did because at this point you have their money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to get any more quarters. Yeah. But if you release a game that's like the first one, that's fucking impossible to beat, you're going to start getting people complaining, right?
Yeah.
Because I do think that I know the first one's like one of the best selling games of all time, but this is the one everybody remembers. Like this is the one everybody played with their friends.
The first one was just like, oh my God, Ninja Turtles, right? Like,
that's all it was. Yeah. But I stand by it. Like I really did enjoy that game, and I think it's a cool idea. But having said that, like this game is fucking awesome. And to tell you, dude, no one played Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. I remember renting that one.
I played it a bunch.
I liked it more than this. It's a better game.
It is.
No one plays it. I don't know if we'll ever do an episode on it because I don't know who else played it except maybe you. Maybe you and I will end up doing an episode on it. But like each turtle had more specific like special moves.
Yeah. The character like list of like bad guys was awesome.
The graphics were better. Yeah. Plus, you know what I love about Turtles 3 is when you die, you can switch your turtle.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, when you die, and I don't mean when you die, game over. I mean like when you lose a life, you can switch turtles. In this one, you pick a turtle and that's it.
That's it.
Which I understand, but like I also like, how do you not let us switch? Like, just it's fun. Like, let us switch. Well, like that's half of the fun. Like, fucking idiots.
I get the reason because you want to be your favorite turtle, right?
Yeah, like I was always Donnie. Yeah, right. Same. Like. Yeah, because he's the best. And then like he's the best. I fucking and honestly, like another thing I noticed that I don't remember this from playing it as a kid, but playing it now is there's like some slowdown. Like you can see that it's like the NES was like chugging. You know what I mean, to make this game work. Like it's because this was an arcade game that they put on this little cart, and there's some slowdown. There's a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for?
Like lag almost?
No, but like, yeah, like, you know, like when sprites would like flicker. Yeah. That's the word. Flicker, that's the word I was looking for. Which I know a lot of these old games had, but like there's a lot of it at points in this game. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like and it doesn't make it unplayable. Yeah. But particularly when I go to the arcade now and I play the original arcade machine and then I play it on the NES, it's like, dude, you can see the inferiority. But as a kid, where like you only got your parents to take you to the Chuck E. Cheese or the arcade once or twice a year, and they're only going to give you enough quarters to get to Bebop, like to have it at home and be able to play it as much as you want, it was worth all those sacrifices, right? Like,
and then figuring out the Konami code.
That's right, yeah, which I never knew about as a kid.
So like you would, I don't even remember how that everybody knew that code.
I know. I don't know where that code came from. Like I don't know who fucking figured out that code.
I think it was released in something.
Had to have been, because nobody just figures out like a dozen buttons you push at the title menu. But
but there was a lot of stuff like that for a lot of games. Konami just having, I think with the Konami code, and I might be wrong here, is that it was like a bug feature that someone put into a game so they could go and like test it.
Oh, okay.
Right, and then it just never got taken out.
Oh, I see.
And then they were like, whatever, we'll keep it in all of our games.
Right.
And then like, so with that one, you get to like do level select, which was pretty cool. So we would play like, we get so far all the time and die. Like we just couldn't get any farther.
Right.
And then you'd be like, all right, well, let's just go to the next level.
Yeah. It just made those games more playable, right? Like when they were this hard. Yeah. Like it just made them more playable. It was just more fun. I fucking love. Everybody loves this game. Everybody does. And I'll be honest with you guys, and we talk about this on the show sometimes. There are some of these games where I'm like, go back and play this one again. Like, remember how much fun it was. And there's some where it's like, you're probably better off just leaving this one in your memory. Yeah. The arcade game to this,
I still play this in the arcade,
is still rad. Yeah. And when you're there with your friends and it's 4 of you, fucking One Up just released. Have you seen the mini arcade? Yeah. Oh, the amount of like restraint I've had to not order that fucking thing, like, because it looks so sick. Like I whenever we go to Beercade, this is the one we either go to this one or the Simpsons arcade game. Yeah, like this, which is the same thing. Fucking quarter eating shitty beat 'em up, but they're fun.
I actually love being Marge and hitting everyone with the vacuum.
With the vacuum, yeah. Like this game is like everyone remembers this game, and as far as the NES version, I would say just remember it in the past. Frankly, you're never going to get to play it again unless you're into ROMs, hacking, or you collect games and you buy the old cart. You're never going to play the NES version of this because it's never. I would bet money it's never going to be re-released.
No,
there was a point. I don't know if you remember this when the Wii came out and they had the Virtual Console. The original Ninja Turtles game was on there for a little while, but it was a little bit more expensive than most NES games because of licensing. And then Turtles 2 was announced and then never came out. And then the original one got taken off of the eShop.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sure it has to do with the licensing. Nickelodeon owns the Ninja Turtle franchise now. And like I'm sure they're charging big bucks for those fucking games. And the thing is like if you release like a Turtles package on the games, like if you release like Turtles 1, Turtles 2, Turtles 3 on the current consoles, I think people will buy it, but I'm sure the licensing you'd have to pay to get a hold of it would be astronomical.
That's just ridiculous. To me, especially like for how old the games are, and like they're just basically ROM ports anyways, right? So it's not like it costs a lot to make them, and all you're really doing is getting money. And like, who says you need to get a lot of money for Turtles? And it's like one of those supply and demand things. You put it out at like a decent price, and everyone's gonna buy it. You still make a ton of money.
And almost every other old game gets re-released at some point. Like DuckTales got remastered and re-released. Aladdin and the Lion King are coming out right away. Those are big licensing fees. Like
the Lion King is probably one of the hardest games fucking ever.
Like I'm sure that this is gettable. I mean, well, okay. The proof is in the pudding that this game is gettable because Arcade 1UP got it for their arcade cabinet, but they're also charging like $550 Canadian to get your hands on this cabinet. And I'm sure there's overhead on the cabinet. Plus, it's 4-player, so it's a little bit more stuff like that. But I'm sure Nickelodeon is charging out the ass for the licensing fee to get your hands on Ninja Turtles, right? And I just don't know if they would see the return on their investment for these games.
Especially with that's what I'm saying. If they dropped a lot of the fee and you get it out for a decent price,
if you could get it out cheap, people, like if they released the 3 original Turtle games for like $20, people would buy them. I think if you charge much more than that, which they would, I don't know how well they would sell because I think people like once the reviews start to come out, people will be like, this is
a game that hasn't aged well.
No, right? Like I would pay $20 to just have the original Turtles in Time on my Switch before I paid $20 to have all 3 of the NES games on my Switch because like all it was, you guys, like Turtles 2 is the one everyone knows and loves. Turtles 3 did everything Turtles 2 did better, and then Turtles in Time perfected it. And it honestly hasn't been touched since. Like but this game is just this podcast is all about nostalgia and it's all about memories and it's all about the games that made you happy when you were a kid, and everyone loved this game as a kid. That fucking art, dude, will stand out in my head forever. Like, I would seriously pay good money to have a nice poster-sized version of that art. Like, And that was before Raphael was an asshole, which I always remember, too, because Raphael's such a dick now, but back then he was kind of cool and kind of nice.
I will never forget the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 movie when they're, like, going to rescue Raph. They're like, hey, look, it's Raph. It's a little too Raph.
A little too Raph, yeah, because it's quiet. Yeah, a little too quiet. It's Raph, yeah, a little too Raph. Fucking Raph. He's such a fucking ass. I hate him. I don't even hate him. As I get older, he's the one I relate to the most because I'm angrier too. But anyway,
he uses his own plot foil. I love it.
Yeah, this game's I love this. I love this game. I love it. Like if we had more time, I would be like, yo, let's fire up my NES and play Turtles. And like let's play it. You know, like we just don't have time. All right. Well, you done?
Yep.
All right. Out of 8 slices of pizza, how many slices of pizza does Turtles 2 the arcade game? The NES port and the arcade game.
Ooh. The port the arcade game I would give 6. 6 slices of pizza. I will play that all the time. Mm-hmm. But the NES, 4.5.
That's fair. You know what? Boy, I want to go 8 because of my love for it, but I that's the perfect score, and I don't give those. So I'll go 7 for the arcade, and I'll go 5 for the NES one. Like, listen, if you haven't played the NES one since like the early 90s, just leave it that way because it just hasn't. It's not as good a port as you remember. But the next time you're at like an adult arcade and you see that original stand-up cabinet, I'm telling you, pump $5 or $10 into it
Yeah.
and just have fucking fun.
Yeah, grab a couple friends.
Yeah, get 3 of your friends to play with you. Make the one that you hate the most be Leo, because nobody wants to be Leo.
I always found no one wanted to be Michelangelo.
No, Mikey's awesome. Leo's boring. Like, I mean, I love all 4 of them, okay? But Leo is boring.
A lot of my friends picked on like weapons, so they're like,
Nunchucks are sweet, though. No, I'm not going to get into Turtle. I could talk Turtles forever. I'll eventually launch a Turtles podcast. That's when I can just talk about Turtles. Mick, thanks for doing this, buddy.
Oh, no problem, man.
And
Awesome.
guys, go play some Ninja Turtles. All right. And that's going to do it for this week's episode, everybody. Mick Los, thank you for coming over and talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with me. And to every single one of you video game Ninja Turtle geeks out there, thank you so much for listening and supporting the show. If you want to support it even more, follow us, Twitter and Instagram. We're at Member the Game. We'll follow you back. We'll chat. It's a free follower. You guys, why wouldn't you do it? We're also over on Facebook.com/RememberTheGame, YouTube.com/RememberTheGame, and most importantly, Patreon.com/RememberTheGame. I know I push it on here a lot, but it's just getting bigger and bigger. The bigger it gets, the better the prizes I can give away. Patreon.com/RememberTheGame. $2 a month for a bunch of cool stuff. And if you enjoyed the show this week, you guys, please leave me a good review. I'm not sure why I'm supposed to keep asking for them, but I'm going to, because that's what you're supposed to do as a podcast host. That'll do it for this week, you guys. We will be back on Monday the 9th with an episode for Patreons about Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we will be back on December 11th. I had to think about that one for a minute. With episode 76 as we continue our climb toward episode 100 of Remember the Game. Thanks for listening, guys. Go play some video games, and I will talk to you again in 7 days or less. Take it easy. Cheers.